Welcome back to Euro Football Daily for this week's Euro transfer talk. There is news and rumours flying in from all over the continent this week, so let's get straight into it. They might have sealed the signing of Kalidou Koulibaly, but Chelsea aren't done regenerating their backline quite yet, with the club still anticipating the departures of Marcos Alonso and Cesar Azpilicueta, both to Barcelona. Thomas Tuchel's side remains short in defence, and they are now turning back toward a player they have been long linked with. Jules Kounde was on the verge of moving to the Premier League this time last year, but the Blues were reluctant to meet the €80 million release clause in the Frenchman's contract, meaning he remained with Sevilla. The centre-back continued to be one of the Andalusians' best performers as they qualified for the Champions League for the third campaign in a row. But with a deal that expires in 2 years, Sevilla are now ready to cash in on their star asset, as Marca report that they would accept an offer of just €60 million, but that has merely alerted another club to Kounde's availability. And that club is Barcelona, who despite already splashing over €100 million on Rafinha and Robert Lewandowski, would be interested in acquiring the former Bordeaux man. According to Spanish outlet Sport, the Blaugrana would also be willing to include the 20-year-old duo of midfielder Nico and winger Abde, both of whom have been deemed surplus to requirements following Xavi's summer spending spree. The hope is that this will bring the price of Kounde down substantially, with Barca reluctant to meet the asking price in cash alone. However, Chelsea remain confident that they lead the race for the French international after missing out on Matthijs de Ligt to Bayern Munich. More on him shortly. And even if Kounde does make the switch to West London, Tuchel's defensive rejuvenation may not be done, and this could have an effect down the pecking order at Stamford Bridge. That's because Chelsea are also targeting PSG's Presnel Kimpembe, with the intention of signing him alongside Kounde if possible. And they are said to have already made a €47 million bid for the 26-year-old, who has been with the French champions for 17 years, having made well over 200 appearances for La Parisienne since his first team debut in 2014. So it's understandable that the centre-back is somewhat reluctant to leave the French capital, but with the two clubs edging towards an agreement, Kimpembe will likely be forced into a decision imminently. Chelsea are not far from PSG's €50 million price tag, and whilst the French international wasn't on the list of players they wanted to sell this summer, it would be a welcome cash boost. So on the assumption that Chelsea do get one of these through the door, let alone both, emerging centre-back Levi Colwill could seek a departure from Stamford Bridge. Thiago Silva, Trevor Chalobah and Koulibaly are all ahead of the 19-year-old in the pecking order as it stands, whilst Ethan Ampadu and Malang Sarr are also looking to compete for minutes under Tuchel this campaign. Crystal Palace, Leicester, Southampton and even Arsenal are all said to be interested in the youngster, who impressed on loan at Huddersfield last season, and a temporary departure again seems most likely for Colwill, who is yet to make his senior Blues debut. Chelsea fans, we want to hear from you. What do you make of your club's defensive recruitment this summer, and would you prefer to see Colwill in the first team setup instead of another new signing? Let us know down in the comments below. We briefly mentioned him earlier, so now let's take a look at what is happening to Matthijs de Ligt. In one of the bigger transfer sagas this summer, both Bayern Munich and Chelsea were interested in the Dutchman, who is still only 22 years old. Juventus were holding out for his €120 million release clause, but upon realisation they weren't going to achieve that, became open to negotiations. And after the €50 million transfer of Robert Lewandowski to Barcelona was confirmed, the Bavarians stepped up their efforts to sign the centre-back, eventually settling on a €70 million fee that could reach €80 million if various add-ons are reached. This is a figure that could potentially match the club record fee paid when Lucas Hernandez joined from Atletico Madrid in 2019. De Ligt will sign a contract at the Allianz Arena until 2027, earning a salary of around €10 million a year, which is actually less than the €11 million he earned whilst in Turin, perhaps showing just how desperate he was to carry on his career away from the Bianconeri. De Ligt, who made 117 appearances for Juve, winning 1 Scudetto and 1 Coppa Italia, will become the 4th player to sign for the German champions this summer, following Liverpool's Sadio Mane and Ajax pair Ryan Gravenberch and Noussair Mazraoui. With there being so many new arrivals at the Camp Nou, there will be exits too, both for squad harmony and the balance sheet. One of the names that Barcelona are hoping to cash in on is Memphis Depay, who only arrived in Catalonia last summer on a free after his contract at Lyon expired. The Dutchman had a promising start to his time with the Blaugrana, with 8 goals in his first 15 appearances. However, injuries coupled with the arrival of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang saw both his minutes and output drop, with the 28-year-old adding just 5 more goals to his tally from December to May. Despite declaring last month that he wanted to stay at Barcelona and the club even considering extending his deal so he didn't leave on a free next summer, it now appears his Spanish stay will be coming to an end, thanks to the arrivals of Rafinha and Lewandowski, plus Ousmane Dembele choosing to stay after finishing last season strongly, AS have reported that Memphis has effectively been frozen out and is now available for transfer. And it is Spurs that appear to be the most interested party in the former Man United winger, with Antonio Conte still looking to boost frontline depth despite the £60 million signing of Everton's Richarlison earlier this window. Memphis will be considerably cheaper though, with the Daily Express saying Barcelona value him at just €20 million. Already it seems like the Champions League outfit aren't far away, with their €70 million offer almost meeting the asking price. But it might not be cut and dry if the two sides do agree a fee, with the player remaining content at Barcelona despite his first team opportunities for this upcoming campaign looking bleak. Spurs fans, would this be a good pickup for you? Let us know in the comments section. We now turn our attention to West Ham, who may be finally closing in on a striker to provide some competition for Mikel Antonio. David Moyes' side have been linked with Chelsea youngster Armando Broja throughout the summer, and towards the end of last week submitted a £25 million bid for the 20-year-old. That was pushed back by their London rivals, whose preference is to loan out the Albania international for another campaign. But the Hammers came back stronger with a £30 million offer. That might be enough to tip the balance for the former Southampton loanee, who bagged 9 goals in all competitions for the Saints last season, and has also attracted interest from Everton, Newcastle and Napoli. Broja was on tour with Chelsea in the US but has returned. Whilst this is officially due to a non-serious injury, we'd imagine it might help facilitate conversations between the East London club and the player ahead of this potential deal, which could be completed very soon. And if it isn't, West Ham have their eyes on a few other players too. Primary among those is Sassuolo's Gianluca Scamacca, with the club having made an official €40 million bid for the striker. The 23-year-old netted 16 goals in his first campaign with the Nerazzurri senior squad, and PSG have reportedly already agreed personal terms with the 6'5" Italian, although Le Parisien were reluctant to meet the €50 million asking price. Sassuolo director Giovanni Carnavelli effectively confirmed that the Europa League semi-finalists have outbid the French champions, before telling Sky Sports Italia that we are not forced to sell. Elsewhere, West Ham have been linked with Brentford striker Ivan Toney, as well as Blackburn's leading man and Chilean superstar Ben Brereton Diaz. But for now, these remain just rumours. There are a lot of names doing the rounds, but Hammers fans, would you be happy with Armando Broja if they get this deal over the line? Or would you have preferred a different option? As ever, get your answers below. We round off this week's Euro transfer talk with rumours that Mauro Icardi could be set for a return to Italy, but not to one of the big sides. Instead, the PSG striker is being linked with a sensational move to Serie A newcomers Monza, after his wife and agent Wandanara met with the club twice, according to RMC Sport. With just 10 starts for PSG last campaign and only 5 goals, the Argentinian is one of a dozen or so players the club are trying to shift ahead of the new campaign. But Icardi refuted claims that he could leave this summer only last month. However, the 29-year-old sees a switch to the Berlusconi-owned outfit as an intriguing proposition, as it would also allow the 29-year-old to return to Lombardy, where the town of Monza sits on the outskirts of former home Milan. That would represent quite a coup for the newly promoted side, who are also in talks with Edinson Cavani as they look to sign a high-profile forward as a statement of intent ahead of the new season. This is definitely one to keep an eye on. So guys, that was Euro transfer talk for another week. What did you guys think of the stories? Do you see any of these transfers actually coming true? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like it and subscribe to Euro Football Daily, and I'll catch you later in the week.